Why are we meaning-making machines? I said it before, we are meaning-making machines, making meaning out of something that doesn't have any meaning. Something that's meaningless. But we make meaning out of it. Why are we meaning-making machines? What does the meaning give us? Listen, really ponder on that question. Don't just have an answer. Why are we making meaning out of everything? Why are we placing meaning upon everything? Why do we do that? And I discussed this before, what is it that the meaning gives you? Before you go straight to your head and answer and look at your notes or whatever, what does it give you? Just scream it out.
Duality, separateness.
Okay.
Negative.
Yep. Yep. Hey? Identity. Which is what you get in duality. It's not that it's wrong. It's just simple answer. The meaning gives you identity. Go one step deeper. What were we talking about? Existence. Why do you need an identity? To exist. Because who you are doesn't have an identity. You're manifesting yourself and an identity to move through. Just like you've manifested these clothes, you know, and when I say the clothes, I'm talking about the body, not the actual clothes. You manifested this appearance to experience through. But then the appearance itself goes, oh, hang on a sec, I'm alive. Because you begin to give yourself meaning. I'm alive. And then this takes over. Our ego hijacks and then begins to place meaning upon other things. When you're 2 years old, you stood in front of the mirror and went, nah, nah, da-da, whatever. And you started to go, oh, that's me. What does it mean to be me? As you started to develop, you started to go, well, what does it mean to be me? Oh, me means to be this body. Well, what does that mean? Where did I come from? Mommy, Daddy, where did I come from? You were asking from the very beginning. And from the very beginning, you manifested people who you gave meaning to. This is your mother. This is your mommy. I'm your mommy. This is daddy. Meaning. Oh, these people give me love. These people give me the support. These people give me the slap in the face. Or whatever. The teachings. The guidance. You placed meaning on them. And they supported you in placing meaning back on yourself. And then as you developed and realized that this is who I am, you began to place meaning on life. The meaning on your streets, the meaning on your neighborhood, the meaning, like you gave everything meaning. When someone says this, it means this. When someone says that, it means that. And you began to place meanings, until you get to a point where you're like, this doesn't make sense. There's something missing, something's not whole, something's not complete. And then you start to question the meaning and purpose of life. And if your thirst for that question is not so big, then you find somebody to tell you what the meaning and purpose of life is, and that's a nice little band-aid and fulfills you for the time being. But if you're really thirsty, and someone's giving you the meaning and purpose of life before, and you're like, that ain't it either, then you're like, no, you don't stop for a simple answer. This is the meaning and purpose of life. This is where you go. This is where the dog goes when he goes to doggy heaven. And those answers are not satisfying enough yet, enough anymore. And you start to question more. In the WTF, I don't tell straight out to people we're meaning-making machines. I just say we are making judgments all the time. People they can relate to that word judgment. Oh yes, that's a judgment. You shouldn't be in judgment. They can associate with that because that's what society says. You shouldn't judge. Religion says you shouldn't judge. Philosophy says you shouldn't judge. They can digest that. But really what I'm saying is don't give meaning to something that doesn't have any meaning. If I say that at the beginning, they're lost. What do you mean? What do you mean, don't give meaning? It already has meaning. I didn't give it to it. That's why I'm alive, because things mean something. That's not why you're alive. You're alive to be alive. You don't need a reason for it. So I use the word judgments. And everyone can associate, judgment. And then I introduce to them that judgment is not just something negative. You're also making a judgment when you're making a positive judgment. When you label something positive, it's also a judgment. Okay? Now at this advanced stage, take that word judgment aside and replace it with meaning. This is positive and it means so and so. This is negative and it means so and so. What if it didn't mean that? What if it meant neither? And you're just placing that meaning upon it. So, where were we? We were talking about something. You guys answered something. What was it? No, but before that, like, what did you say? What were you talking about before?
I said duality and
Identity. Why are we placing meaning on things? Because the part of you that doesn't exist is looking to exist. And it can only exist through through having an identity. But the way an identity will stay, imagine you look at yourself in the mirror, but your identity was just for now, and then it disappears. And then you're like, hang on, where'd my identity go? Your identity's got to stay. It's like a spider spinning its web. The web's got to stay. So all you're doing is spinning webs by giving your identity or things that relate to your identity, by giving it meaning. The moment you give it meaning, it exists. Remember I said the moment you place meaning on something, you give it an existence. A version of existence. An existence that exists in time and space. It's not existence itself that's timeless, that is temporary. I'm talking about. Don't mistake what I'm saying. When I talk about existence itself, that's timeless and it transcends. It's eternal, if you like. This existence is not eternal, it's temporary. The moment you give something meaning, it's a temporary existence. Just like this body, this physical appearance, is a temporary existence. So the moment you give something meaning, it's a spider web, temporary existence. But the spider web can be easily just, the whole thing could just be cut. Have you noticed sometimes you have big life-changing effects, impacts, or circumstances, something happens in your life, then the meaning of everything just changes like that. Who's ever experienced something like that? Who's ever experienced a life-changing effect? Life-changing, yeah, most people have. I mean, the WTF experience, right? Yeah, I'm joking, but for some that was. But something else, maybe giving birth, maybe someone dying, maybe near-death experience. Suddenly the meaning of the things that you've given suddenly changes. You see this with, different religions. The rabbi says to do this, it means this. 40 years later, another rabbi comes and says, well, this doesn't mean that anymore, it means this. And everyone changes the way and they start doing whatever the rabbi or the priest or whatever. Well, who gave it meaning? Someone that you place so much meaning and importance to told you what the meaning is, and then you went and go, well, that's the meaning. That's what we do on these days. We don't eat meat because if we eat meat on this day, it means this. Come on. Like I said, Some people need instructions. Or change the word instructions to disciplines. They need it. Because without it, they lose themselves. And they're not ready to lose themselves. So they need guidance. They need to be told how to live. That's why most people like my sister's seminars more than my ones. She's more popular than I am. They need instructions. They need guidance. This is do it yourself. How many times have I said to you? Self-realization. You have to take what you're experiencing this month and self-realize with it. There's no disciplines. There's no tools. It's up to you to walk through that door. You know, my mother has been someone who's, like, I spend moments like this, not a whole day, moments. 1 hour, 2 hours, half an hour, 10 minutes, little moments like we're experiencing together right now. And in those moments, it felt like she implanted a seed. And that's what this is. You're feeling something. You don't understand what it is, but you're feeling something. But you still got to take that seed and water it. And nurture it. For the seed to blossom and for you to have your self-realization. Nobody told me these answers. I had moments with my mum where I could feel the space. She would be telling me something, but it was nothing even to do with that. Let's turn that back on. You still need to walk away from here and make space and make time, which is some of the earlier trainings that I would give you guys. You need to make space for yourself and ponder. Making space and giving space. And what does giving space means? It means giving the now to the feeling that you had in this day. Bless you. What you felt today, you need to take that away, not apply it, because then I would give you disciplines. Not apply it, but give space to it and ponder it, and you will realize it for yourself, not based on what notes you've taken or based on what I've said. You will have the self-realization yourself and go, oh, that's what he meant. That's what I felt. That's what's real. It's real, bless you, because you felt it, not because I said so. Bless you. In the Persian culture, they have a meaning placed on when people sneeze, and when they keep sneezing and use lots of sneezing, it means it's true. It's right? What's it called again? No, in Persian. I can't understand what you said, but I can't hear you, but yeah, that one. Sabrumat, that's what it means. They say sabrumat, which means, I don't know what it means, but I think it means it's going to come true or something. But again, it's a meaning. It's not, you see? It's a meaning. Just give you an example of all the, you know, it all comes from different cultures and different history and, you know. So here's my question to you. What if what I'm saying is true? What if it had no meaning and nothing had meaning, and the meaning that you're experiencing is just the meaning that you've placed on things? What does that mean for you? Or how does that feel? Who wants to share? Elizabeth, what's that? You're shaking your head. Oh, okay. Confusion for you? Okay.
Initially confusion in my early days.
Okay.
Or the meaning I'd given everything. Yeah, it leaves a bit of confusion.
All right.
Not in the space I am today, but initially that.
Okay, Elizabeth?
For me, I just think freedom, blank slate. You do what you want because you want to versus because you have to. If it has no meaning, who cares?
You know, thank you. I really want you to ponder on that. Not what does it mean, the way I phrased it's not the right way. No, what does it mean if nothing meant anything? How do you feel? There's a part of you that backflips, like a monkey, you know, they do backflips? Because it needs meaning to exist. But I just want you to sit with that and go, all right, stop looking for something to exist. Just what does that mean? And I think you would really grasp what I'm actually saying in the WTF experience when I'm saying everything is an illusion. I could say everything is meaningless, but I say everything is an illusion because it's an easier association than to have everything is meaningless. Although that's a pretty big freak out for some people as well, when now you realize, well, nothing really is here. I'm here and I'm experiencing myself being here, but none of it is real. It's all energy. It's all infinite energy. One infinite energy. I mean, I'm saying the same thing in a different way. Take away illusion, and you know, in this case today I'm saying take away meaning. Take your attention off the illusion, your attention will fall onto the truth. Take your attention off meaning, your attention will fall on the meaningless, which sounds like a terrible thing, or the nothing. When you first heard the word, oh, the nothingness, that sounds terrible. But when you experience the nothingness, you go, wow, that's really joyful and really freeing. And what the hell? What's going on? Not what the hell, what the heaven? I'm feeling everything in the nothing. I'm feeling all the poopus in the meaningless. I feel poopusful in the meaningless. What's that? Like, I want you to really ponder on that. Ponder on that question. What if everything was meaningless and you're just placing meaning? Not what does that mean for you? What does that feel? What do you feel in that? Microphone, please. What do you feel in that?
At first, I would always feel that fear because it's just such a strong fear. But now I feel like it's just endless possibilities and just free and just an amazing amount of depth.
I'm glad that you said that. At first, remember, it's the monkey doing a backflip. I mean, that's the image that comes to me. It's like you just took the ground from someone when you say it's all meaningless. You just suddenly feel like you're falling because it was what you placed meaning to or on that's giving you a sense of groundedness. It's not real groundedness, it's a shadow. You're seeing the ground, but that's not really the ground, it's just shadow. You're in the shadow. But if you just sit with it and calm down a little bit and a little bit more and just keep considering that, you suddenly sense something different. You sense a freedom. You sense, like you said, possibilities. Like I can't stuff up. Like there's no right, wrong. It's just, and I think the biggest thing that you'll come to realize is that everything that you're realizing on the path of truth, you no longer need to work it out. Therefore, your path progresses faster. Because what slows you down is you trying to understand what's actually happening right now. And why are you trying to understand what's happening right now? So you can give it meaning. Oh, this is where I am on my path right now. This is it. So you can give it meaning. And that slows you down. But if you stop giving meaning, and people go, well, how do I stop giving meaning to things? What's a question I had asked in Melbourne? how do I take the meaning that I've given away? Like, how do I, what was the question? So someone asked me in Melbourne, if I've given meaning to something, how do I get that meaning back? You know, it's you don't get it, you just stop giving it meaning. You stop giving it more meaning. The moment you stop giving something meaning, it becomes meaningless.
Yeah, I just remembered when you said it feels like the ground's being taken away from
Just
beneath.
speak up a bit because of the
When
microphone.
you said it feels like the ground's being taken away from beneath you,
Yeah.
I remember something beautiful that you said at the retreat, and you said at first it feels like you're falling, and then
Yeah.
you realise that you're flying.
That's right.
And yeah,
And that's what it feels like at first. You know, when the ground's been taken from beneath your feet, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're gonna fall, or it feels like you're falling. And for a little while, you think you're falling, and you think, you know, everything that you've given meaning to, it begins to crumble, and you're like, what is going on? But after a little while, you realize you're actually not falling, you're flying. And then the reflection changes.
I think in this journey, I didn't actually go and try to lose meaning on something that I place meaning into.
Say that again. This aircon is a bit
I
loud.
didn't actually go and purposely or consciously try to lose meaning on something. There's two things that happened in my life that I thought these are the things that made me exist. It is my main purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I think I came to you last OMG and said, well, it's about, you know, spirituality and all that. And I said, well, why don't think that I need this anymore? You know, it just happens. And I thought, let me just sit on it. I think I was just said. And now that we're talking about it, it's not about losing them. You just sort of lose it. And for me, that's what happened.
Lose what?
The meaning.
The meaning.
Of the things that's so important to me. And then when that happens, I found space. I think that's the only word that I can find. Every time I lose meaning on something, I found space.
Yeah.
And that space is real for me. And I think that's what you're talking about now, that means meaningless. And it's funny, it's like building blocks, and now this is gone.
Yeah.
And this one is gone. And I thought, well, okay, this is the process then, that I have to go and get rid of all these blocks until I realize that there is really no more. And it's just space. But it's scary, but at the same time, the minute you feel the space, it's unbelievable feeling. Not unless you actually felt it, you're right. Not unless you felt that this is no longer meaningful. You don't really appreciate that space, that meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a very perfect description. It's something we've spoken about for the last few months, about space. But that's, you know, the moment you're not placing meaning on something, that's exactly what you feel. It's space. That I've been saying, the meaningless, you know, that's exactly right. It's space. Because it takes up a lot of space when you've given something meaning. Because it's important. You place importance on something. You create attachment to something. You create control to something. And that takes up space.
And what's interesting, at first, I was very protective of the space. Because I thought, wow, I got this space now. What if I lose this space? You know, and then another one I lose, and then more space come. Oh, I gotta protect this space. What if I refill it with another attachment? But now I'm okay with that. Like, it's like, no, you're not gonna lose the space. So I calm down, because at first I'm gaining. It's like control, like, oh, I got this space, this is fantastic. So now it's not like that. It's like, okay, I'm gaining more space. It's like there's this thing. It's just empty, and I'm not protective of it anymore.
Yeah.
I sort of understood that that's the process.
Yeah.
After a while.
Yeah. Thank you. Bless you. Spring, hey? It's all the sneezing.
Yeah, people are talking about feeling scared or fear. I actually just feel angry, like that. if you've been living in an illusion and wasting time, to me that makes me feel angry,
Yeah.
annoyed.
Okay. Well, be annoyed and be angry. Sure. Sure. All right, you can turn that off, open the door. So the question to you is then, you know, why are you feeling angry? You know, I don't want an answer. All right, what is making you angry? And if you look at what is making you angry, it is the meaning you've placed on something. And this idea that it's meaningless, something is getting threatened here. Something that you've placed meaning on is getting threatened to lose its meaning. I mean, think about it. As you've gone deeper and deeper in your journey, sometimes, or as you've grown up as a child, like sometimes your group of friends change, all right? Because you're not placing the same meanings on things. Your meanings on things changes. But at first, all you're doing is changing the meaning of one thing to another thing. Changing a meaning to one thing, it's just, you're placing, you know, for example, you know, that's why I always talk about, you know, people are in the corporate ladder, they're climbing the corporate ladder, and they realize, oh, I don't want to climb the corporate ladder anymore, they start climbing the spiritual ladder. You know, they're like, oh, money's not important, da 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 da, and then they start being spiritual, you know, and you know what money represented was climbing this ladder. Now they're being the spiritual ladder, and it's all about having less, and it's all about, you know, giving away and being, you know, or loving, and you know, with an agenda to receive love or with an agenda to be perceived loving. You know, you're just placing one meaning onto another. So at first in the journey, you realize, and you're just changing your meaning to different things. But then, you know, if you look long enough, hard enough, and keep feeling what's out there, keep connecting with yourself, keep doing what you love, keep doing what's true for you, that feeling keeps becoming stronger and stronger to the point where you're like, that's all that's real. All the meaning I've placed on things is not. So soon enough, what's real, the feeling becomes more real, becomes more familiar than all the meaning that you've placed on things. That's when you'll open the door. And you just will walk through it. And you become meaningless. Some of you right now are putting meaning into what I'm even saying. You're putting meaning onto the point of walking through the door. You see, you swap a meaning with another meaning. So here's the thing. This is how you can go in this month and self-realize. Or some of you, it's your final month now. This is what I would be doing to self-realize. Continuously look for the meaning you placed on things. What does this mean for me? And you'll see that it means something. If I had this, what does it mean? If I didn't have this, what does it mean? And what you'll find is the very thing that you're looking to fill the void with. You know, the void, the emptiness. Recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, security. Remember those? They're just 5 labels. If you look at whatever it is that's driving you, all right? What's driving you is the meaning you placed on it. To get this gold medal, it means that this is who I am. It means that others will think of me this way. It means that I will think of myself this way. What does it mean to get the gold medal? What does it mean if I didn't get the gold medal? You're going to find something here in the middle called the agenda. And the practice is to see the very thing that you're looking for that you already have. And if you remember months ago, we did a practice, and we do this in the WTF, where I get people to think about whatever it is that they perceive to need. So you ask yourself, what does this mean for me to have the gold medal? What does it mean to not have the gold medal? Well, it means I won't have recognition. It means I won't have whatever, find the deepest, most truest answer. So for this case, let's just use the word recognition. I won't have recognition. Right? What does that mean? Because again, recognition, why do you want recognition? Because you're looking to find identity. Remember, one of the ways that the ego builds its identity is by trying to get man-made love. It's trying to seek for itself, but it doesn't know the emptiness is love. So it looks for love through form. Recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, security. What do you feel when you have, I'm going back to give you reminders. What do you feel when you feel recognized? Appreciation, acceptance, approval, security. You feel loved. You feel safe. When you have security, you feel safe. When you have recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, you feel a sense of love. Is that the real love? No, that's the love that you're getting through form. So you place meaning on something because it gives you one of those things. Why do I want the gold medal? What does it mean for me? What does it mean if I don't have it? You find a common answer. It means I get recognition. If I don't have it, it means I don't get recognition. I'm dumbing this down to simplify it. Recognition. Right? Then, do the little practice that we do at the WTF. What does it feel like if I no longer needed? Be present. Feel the recognition. What does it feel like if I no longer needed to have recognition? You see, the idea is for you to realize you already have what you're seeking. It's just not in form, it's in formless, which means it's eternally yours. The recognition that you get through form is temporary. The recognition that you realize in formless is eternally you. Right? So the question is, what does it feel like if I no longer needed to be recognized? Who's done this before? A few of you. We're doing the WTF. You must have forgotten. What does it feel like if I no longer needed to feel recognition? Guess what answer you'll realize? Not what answer you'll find, what answer you'll realize. Like a bubble rising up from the ocean, you have a self-realization of the answer. What does it feel like if you no longer needed to feel recognition? What does it feel like, okay, if you no longer needed to feel secure? Ask yourself the question. What does it feel like? Who can tell me? Yep, microphone. What does it feel like if you no longer needed to feel security?
It's like the pressure's off.
Okay, so what does that feel like?
Ease.
Okay.
Calm. Everything's going to be okay.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why do you want security? Ease, calm, the pressure's off. Everything's going to be okay. Do you understand? And then suddenly you do that a little bit more, you do that a few times, there's a part of you that goes, holy shit, I'm feeling what I'm feeling when I'm not pursuing what I feel that I need. For as long as that you're pursuing to need that, that takes up space and you will continue to feel that you need that. But if you ask yourself, what does it feel like to no longer need that? There's this space that you suddenly feel. And when you describe that space, it is exactly what you perceive to be needing, exactly what you perceive to be experiencing when you get what you perceive to need. Seriously, it's simple. But what will stop you from doing this little exercise or this little self-realization process? Yeah, but this is different because this I have a lot of meaning on right now. Don't have time for that little thing Amir gave me. This, this is my marriage breakup. This means a lot. What does it mean? What you're doing is actually becoming one with whatever you perceive to be separate from, whatever you perceive to be lacking. You feel you lack security, you will create circumstances in your life that you will give meaning to, and you'll say, this relationship means security for me. This relationship means love, means appreciation for me. This job means security for me. That's where the meaning is coming from. That's where you're placing meaning. You're placing meaning on the thing that you perceive that will fulfill your satisfaction of your agendas, to fulfill your agenda. Where does your agenda come from? The part of you that perceives there's something missing. Look, let me simplify this even more. Your ego, the part of you that has got existence temporarily through being the form, perceives there's something missing. What's missing is meaning and purpose. What do you feel when you have meaning and purpose? Yes, you feel identity, you feel love in form. All you're looking for is love. But through so many different forms. This is all that is to simplify and dumb it down for you. It is all about love. But you then think it's about money. You then think it's about relationship. It's about health. Even existence, right? Because when you exist, you feel you're loved. You exist, right? The only reason you're not finding love in the non-existence or in the real existence, the part that really exists, that it's eternal, is because the ego cannot look at the non-existence or the formless because it sees nothing. Because the ego only knows through form. So it looks and goes, nothing there. In fact, there's something missing. That's all you're looking for. You're looking for love, and when you find something that gives you a version of love, which is what I've been calling as human-made love, you give meaning to it. And then you become a slave to that. Whatever you gave meaning to, then you become a slave. Because that's how I'm getting my love. In other words, that's how I'm getting my existence. But give up the love that you're getting there. Give up the meaning you've placed on the outside to find the love that is eternal. See, there's no meaning there. But you better ponder on that for yourself and come to that realization. Thanks for the microphone. You better come to that realization for yourself. Because otherwise, I'm just saying there's no meaning. But you can even realize that for yourself. It's not that hard of a question. Why does something mean this to you and someone else looks at it and it means something else? Why does this mean something for someone and someone else looks at it and means something else? Well, obviously, you're putting your own meaning onto things. So therefore, if we are just putting our own meaning to things, then it's actually meaningless. But within that meaningless is space, is purpose. But when we haven't found it within that space, we look for it in the form. It's very simple, all about love. You haven't found it within yourself, you haven't found it in the formless, within your space, you will look for it and become a slave to the form. And you'll put meaning on things. But this is a big realization for you to peel the layers of the onion back over this month. What does this mean for me? What does this mean? Nothing. Nothing, Elizabeth. It means nothing. You can almost hear your mind going, okay, well then if it means nothing, what does that mean? Who hears that voice in there? It's already going, so what does that mean? You see? You're just trying to make another meaning. And by the way, the fact that you're feeling anger, all right, is because you already were angry, right? The anger that you feel has already been there, right? But you then cover up the anger with meanings. And go, well, if I can just get this accomplished, then this it would mean this. If I can do this, it would mean this. And we cover up. And if you actually went deeper into the anger, you realize the anger is actually not even real. It's just stored energy, stored memories, past and future related. And then you go, I feel the anger in my shoulder, and you put meaning to it. But no, you're just not present. Because if you are truly present, if you're truly here now, what anger? That story becomes irrelevant. The meaning you placed on that story becomes irrelevant. Questions, comments, contributions? So homework this month is to question, what does this mean for me? What does this mean? What does this goal mean? This person thinks of me this way. What does that mean? It's not to question what does that mean and find an answer. It's to question that and have no more question, because it means nothing. If you just, well, this means that the stars are on this point, and this means that when I was a kid I put this energy here, and this means I really need to I want to say something. You're just giving meaning to things. And does it mean that? Maybe, but you're giving that meaning to it. Microphone.
What I'm getting from the conversation is that putting meaning on things is just another way for me to not be present. So purpose and meaning are both tools that I've created to stop being present. And I've thought that searching for meaning would give me understanding, and that would somehow free me. But that hasn't been the case at all. It just makes it worse.
Yeah.
So,
because the more you understand, the more there is to understand.
there's nothing to understand other than be here.
Yeah, which does not take understanding. There's nothing to understand rather than be here, he says. Which does not take understanding. It doesn't take understanding to be here. It's past and future. Right here, your ego doesn't exist right here. Yes, the present moment that has a past and future, the ego still resides there. But this moment right now, when you are completely one with this moment, and there's only this moment right now, there is no ego there. There is no past, there is no future. But the more meaning you've given to the things in the past and future, the more power it has to take you back out of the present moment and take you to the past and future where the ego can exist. Question? Question? Eh? Flowers are beautiful. Yes, they are.
I was going to say the death lily. I actually think it's really funny because my profession used to be as a hypnotherapist and counsellor, and all I ever really did was, if someone had a meaning for something that happened in their life, I changed it to something they were happy with, rather than something they weren't happy with.
Yeah.
Which
Gave it to another
Which is
meaning.
really sort of crazy because it's not really solving anything. But what I was pondering was that I've always looked for the meaning in everything, and I've always looked for signposts before I would do something. Like I'd actually set myself up and ask for a signpost and all the rest of it. And it's been happening less and less, probably the last few months. And what it seems to be is like I'm not waiting for signposts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's somehow just being in the space and being available, so that and not putting meaning on, because I always made meanings out of all the signposts of when to move this way, that way, or whatever. And more so, it just feels like I sort of just get up and I feel my way instead of waiting for something to tell me the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so the space is a much more feeling space. So it's just like a natural flow of following the feeling rather than stopping, meditating, asking for what to do next and things like that.
You're going to get to a point where you won't even call it the feeling.
Mm.
You're going to get to a point where you just say, this is what I feel.
Mm.
The two become one. You won't even have my intuition. That all just goes out the window. Like, I continuously describe it to people as the feeling, follow the feeling. It's recently that just following the feeling doesn't even resonate. It's just, this is what I feel. I feel to do this. You know, because I'm following the feeling. Soon that will disappear. Soon the intuition wouldn't disappear. Well, who's the intuition? It's I am. Soon that will disappear. When you're following the feeling, you're following the feeling that you're getting from outside, you know, in the ocean. There's soon a point where you are the feeling, and I feel too, whatever. Who wants to share how they're feeling after today? What are you feeling right now?
I'm just feeling really at peace. There's no questions going on. It's just nice. That's it.
Yep. I think the biggest thing that you can take away from not putting meaning on things, you don't need to understand it. If you don't have meaning onto it, you don't need to understand it. You just feel And it is what it is. Whether it's a truth, whether it's an emotion, it is what it is. Whether it's good, whether it's bad. See, that's when the good and bad goes away, because good and bad is based on the meaning you placed on it. If something's good, if something's bad, go, well, what does this mean for me? What is the meaning that I've placed on this? Because it's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It's not positive or negative. It's neither. The energy is positive and negative comes together. It's good and bad that comes together. It's the external and internal world together. So it's neither of them. So when something's positive, something's negative, something's right, something's wrong, it's all based on the meaning you've placed on it. But it doesn't have any meaning. But then there's a part of you that goes, well, it has to have a meaning. Because something's going to mean something. Watch this fight over the next 4 weeks for yourself. You might have to continue on this conversation a little bit longer and give it some more space. Because I can already sense there's this part of you that's just doing the backflips. But something's got to mean something. All you are is meaning-making machines, making meaning out of something that is meaningless. I wonder what it would be if you just sat within the meaningless and not need to make meaning out of everything or out of something. I wonder what you will realize. Right. That brings us to completion of meaning and purpose.